Today we are going on a journey through thousands of years. We will get to know the samurai, whose gaze is as sharp as their swords. We will see closely what samurai eat and drink. Everyone has heard the saying since the invention of gunpowder weapons. The gun was invented, chivalry was broken. In ancient Japanese culture, they were the most noble members of the military class before the invention of gunpowder weapons. As you know, war has an important place in Japanese culture. The Japanese are a fighting people who have never hesitated to fight in their thousands of years of history. This characteristic of theirs has led to the emergence of many military units. Samurai is a Japanese word meaning one who serves. Samurai are elite soldiers who put their lives on the line if necessary to serve Japan and the Japanese people. It emerged as a result of land disputes in Japan. Centuries ago, the fact that only 20% of the land in Japan was suitable for agriculture caused bloody land fights, and these elite soldiers emerged as a balancing factor. Since land wars in the past required both religious and physical development and methods of struggle, the development of the samurai is actually based on this phenomenon. Let's go back a little further. Let us introduce you to the deadliest and sharpest swordsman of the samurai so that you can get to know the samurai better. About 2,700 years ago in Japan, Jimmu Tenno, known as the Immortal Warrior, became the head of a tribe. Tenno took his tribe with him and settled in the Yamato region of Japan. The Yamato tribe organized many expeditions to Asia with their fearless leader Tenno at their head. They were impressed by the cultural richness, technology and martial arts of Korea and China. As a result of these expeditions, Emperor Keiko became the first person in history to bear the title of shogun. Shogun actually meant general. Keiko was the best man in battle. Keiko's son Prince Yamato was a master warrior like his father. Known as a fearless, strong, daring young man, Yamato became the point man in the samurai philosophy. Bushido is the cornerstone of this philosophy. Bushido means the way of the warrior. Fear has no place in this philosophy. Samurai were also based on the understanding of Bushido. You will never see a samurai who could not overcome the fear of death. The philosophy of Bushido became a guiding principle for the samurai and had a profound influence on the character, skill, and lifestyle of these fearless warriors. The basic principles of Bushido are as follows. GI. Integrity. Samurai strive to make decisions correctly and fairly. U. Heroic courage. Samurai must be fearless and follow the path they know is right. Jin. Compassion. Samurai must be kind and compassionate, but can also be tough when necessary. Rei. Respect. The samurai must respect all beings and events. Meo. Honor. For the samurai, his name and honor are paramount. Makoto. Honesty and sincerity. Samurai must be honest and sincere. Chugi. Duty and loyalty. A samurai must be loyal to his lord and friends. These moral and ethical values of the samurai are as important as their warrior skills and are deeply embedded in their social, cultural, and personal lives. Samurai adopted these principles to become disciplined and strong individuals, not only physically but also morally. Like the elite commandos in any military unit today, the samurai were programmed to return from any mission with flying colors. Every one of them was very good with a weapon. Samurai were skilled with all kinds of swords, including the dagger. Samurai who were very good with weapons were loyal to the ruler, their master, with infinite serenity. Over the years, the samurai became more and more important. A separate fund for samurai was created in Japanese culture for their training. Each of them was highly trained in fighting on horseback, on foot, armed and unarmed. In Japan's long history, samurai have played a major role at the center of many critical events. Some of these events that shaped history are as follows. Genpei Wars 1180 to 1185. The Genpei Wars were a major civil war between the Minamoto and Taira clans. This series of wars marks the beginning of the feudal period in Japanese history. The victory of the Minamoto clan led to the rise in power of the samurai class and the establishment of the Kamakura shogunate, or autonomous region. Mongol invasions 1274 to 1281. Towards the end of the 13th century, Japan was twice invaded by the Mongols. These invasions were bravely fought off by the samurai. Especially in the second invasion attempt in 1281, the Mongols were defeated by the brave resistance of the samurai and the help of the divine wind known as kamikaze. Unin War 1467 to 1477. The Unin War marked the beginning of what is known as the Sengoku period in Japan. This years-long civil war, which destroyed much of the city of Kyoto, led to power struggles between samurai clans and many smaller wars. Battle of Sekigahara 1600. The Battle of Sekigahara laid the foundation for the establishment of the Tokugawa Autonomous Region in Japan. This conflict between the Eastern Army, led by Tokugawa Ieyasu, a famous samurai who made history, and the Western Army, led by Ishida Mitsunari, profoundly influenced the future political structure of Japan. Shimabara Uprising 1637 to 1638. The Shimabara Uprising was a revolt of Christian peasants and samurai during the Tokugawa autonomy. This rebellion, which erupted as a result of economic and religious oppression, was brutally suppressed by the Tokugawa court. Until the 13th century, samurai also used arrows and sticks, but after the Mongol War, they started to use swords and spears with bladed ends. Each samurai carried 2 swords. This was the first rule. Depending on the type of battle, a samurai would pull out whichever sword was needed at the time and use it. This sword you see here is called Dado Katana. This is a long sword. This short sword is the Shoto Wakizashi. The samurai who carried 2 swords would also have small knives called tanto hidden somewhere in their clothes. We would like to introduce you to the most famous samurai in the history of samurai who lived in Japan 425 years ago. His name is Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi was a swordsman. He opened a samurai school so that he could teach his mastery to his students with great discipline. He took a small number of students and wanted to make each one as skilled as he was. Before he was 30 years old, Musashi had become one of the most respected samurai in Japan. He was almost capable of fighting someone with his eyes closed. By the age of 30, he had won more than 60 sword fights, a record that was hard to break. Even in his old age, he was a good swordsman. The legends about him never ended. They were told to other samurai for hundreds of years. In fights where Musashi did not use a sword, he could grab his opponents and throw them 2 meters away. Samurai Musashi, nicknamed the Saint of the Sword, could also walk on water, and there are even legends that he could even hover in the air for long periods of time, which is hard to believe. Many samurai legends are told in Japanese culture, but the legend of the 47 Ronin is probably the best known and told samurai legend in Japan and around the world. Chushingura. The legend of the 47 Ronin perfectly represents the samurai values of honor, loyalty and sacrifice and is seen as a reflection of the Bushido philosophy. This true story took place in the 18th century in Edo period Japan. The story is based on Asano Naganori's humiliation by Kira Yashinaka and his subsequent attack on Kira at Edo Castle. Asano commits suicide after the events by committing seppuku, also known as harakiri. Seppuku is a samurai method of suicide. The samurai who decides to commit suicide first stabs the small sword in his abdomen and continues to cut himself until the internal organs and intestines come out. Then the executioner, called kaishakunin, decapitates the suicide with his sword to end the person's suffering. To the samurai, seppuku means an honorable end. After Asano's honorable death, his samurai become ronin, masterless samurai. With their master dead, the ronin are determined to take revenge. But it is not an easy task. The ronin have waited and planned for a long time to successfully carry out their revenge plan. In order to gain Kira's trust and dispel his suspicions, their leader Oishi and the other ronin pretended to lead normal lives, some working at different jobs, others living as an alcohol addiction. Thus, Kira and his men no longer saw the ronin as a threat. When the day of revenge came, 47 ronin stormed Kira's house with determination and courage. They fought the occupants to the death. When they found Kira, in the interests of justice, Oishi offered him the chance to commit seppuku, but Kira refused, so the ronin killed him. After taking their revenge, the ronin went to Asano's grave to fulfill their last duty to their leader and offered Kira's head. All 47 ronin then committed seppuku and ended their lives. The ronin sacrificed their lives to ensure justice, and this immortalized them in Japanese culture. In fact, visiting the ronin's graves is still very popular among Japanese and foreign tourists. A samurai should be well conditioned in wartime, but in peacetime he should be twice as well conditioned. He should be able to wield a sword much better. The owner of this philosophy was the famous samurai Tokugawa Ieyasu, who lived in the 1600s. It will be hard to believe, but Ieyasu, who is said to have had more than 30 children, was a good swordsman even when he passed away at the age of 73. His physique was intact. Samurai were loved and respected by both the people and the state administration. As a privileged class, samurai have been a source of pride throughout Japan's history. However, this tradition, interest in and respect for the samurai was abolished by Emperor Meiji in 1876. As soon as he came to power, Emperor Meiji changed the sword-carrying laws and made samurai a thing of the past. He only allowed some ranking officers in the army to carry swords, but only in ceremonies. No one could understand why he did this. But his rules and laws dealt a big blow to the samurai. What a soldier was without a rifle, a samurai was without a sword. What a fighter pilot was without an airplane, a naval commando without a diving tube, a samurai was without a sword. Harakiri also emerged at this time. Samurai without swords could not swallow their pride and committed suicide one by one. The samurai tradition shifted a little bit to sporting fields. However, this did not cause a Japanese to turn away from his sword. Because in World War II, all Japanese ranks and kamikaze pilots carried at least one sword on their person. Being without a sword gave rise to many fighting styles. He invented jiu-jitsu, a grappling technique. In this fighting style, which resembles wrestling, although not as much as a sword, a fighter with a samurai spirit became a warrior capable of neutralizing his enemy in a short time even without a sword. In Japanese philosophy, starting from ancient times to the present day, the spirit of struggle is a must for a Japanese. A Japanese who does not have a fighting spirit is suspected of being Japanese. For this reason, every Japanese, with or without a sword, with or without a weapon, strong or weak, able or unable to fight, is first taught to fight at birth. Today, sometimes on the battlefield, often in the economic arena, countries fight like they are at war. Maybe there are no more swords, daggers, samurai, but every individual in Japan continues to live with the samurai spirit. What do you think about samurai? Please share your comments with us. If you liked our video and would like to support our channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share the link. Goodbye and see you in the next video.